why do we think that companies today are hesitant to use AI for sales?
Primary reason is they call it AI. They're just not familiar with the terminology. Say that with something like ChatGPT or a large language model, it really should have been brought to market as a process. All we're doing is really automating and taking steps 1, 2, 3, and 4. And AI is telling us what steps 2, 3, and 4 should be and are in our operating procedures. And 4 and 5 is the next step that it predicts is going to be a reasonable outcome. And we've been doing standard operating procedures for generations. So now that this new word's thrown out there, it's just scaring people a little bit from a technology buzzword statement that if we had said, this is the training manual and this is the 10-step process for AI, it would have gone a lot easier from a marketing and adoption rate.
Barry, I think to add to that, you talk about standard operating procedures. I think one of the biggest issues in sales is accounting's got a process and they follow that process every single time. Shipping and receiving's got a process, they follow it every single time. One of the killers inside of sales is winging it, shooting from the hip, not having a process. And I think that people are maybe a little bit afraid of that. But I think, alongside that is just AI is new. There's going to be bleeding edge, there's going to be leading edge, and then there's going to be those that wonder what happened. I was thinking of a quote this morning. Mark Twain talked about a man who doesn't read has no advantage over the one who cannot read. And I think that AI is going to fall right in that. I think that the Mark Twains of today will reinvent that quote, taking reading out and putting AI in.
I really liked what Barry said. I think sometimes companies don't really know what AI is, what it will do for them, how to implement it. They're hesitant just because they don't even really understand what the end result is they'd like to achieve. And so it's still, so many of us are still wrapping our minds around what the potential is, what it can do, and then looking at how we're going to implement that within our companies. I talk to a lot of people that the first part of the conversation is just getting them aware even of what the possibilities are, what the potential is with AI. And so it's kind of that deer in the headlights. There's just so much, so fast that there's a little bit of hesitancy, just kind of, they're frozen in what do I do?
I follow along with a number of experts in this space, in the AI space. And I think the consensus in general is that we don't know a lot about what we don't know. So, yeah, this is an area where I'm definitely going to be, I think, spending a lot more time researching and trying to understand myself, for sure.
Sure. In speaking with many of the companies that we work with today, in terms of what they're doing and how they're doing it, they are working with, one way or the other, on purpose or otherwise, AI through various areas of their company, as you were mentioning earlier, Frank, by way of operations and accounting, etc. But the challenge is they're not doing anything on purpose, and they're not doing anything in a focused sense. And with sales, you can be fairly pointed in terms of the outcome you're looking for, which is generally a better customer relationship, and growth in revenue and growth in accounts, and all of those good things. So if you apply a focused strategy against what you're doing and how you want to leverage AI, then you can bring in tools that will have that impact. Just to say we're using AI, you can ask just about any company, are they using AI? And the answer will be yes. But if you ask what's been the result of your use of AI, there either won't be an answer or it'll be a very convoluted sentence or two that don't make much sense. So the fact is AI hasn't been properly introduced, especially in the world of sales. And there's an amazing opportunity to do that. And I think what we need to do is to help people make sure that the reason they do it is defined to begin with. And if it isn't, then you're not ready. It really is that simple. And if it is, then we can look at how AI can be implemented against your current systems or even depending upon whether you have current systems implemented instead of.